So we're back for week two's review of the Sportsdeck team. So coming off of week two, we put up a score of 945. Not bad. I have seen a lot higher, just looking on the rankings and stuff, so could have been a fair bit better. Probably the biggest misses I had, just like to quickly summarize the week. Biggest misses were not having Jokic and not having Doncic. Doncic, of which I was thinking about getting in, but then I saw the next week he's got two, so I kind of just went against it. But in hindsight, of course, I should just brought him in, seeing that his matchups weren't actually too hard. Now, if I can just bring up the team, why isn't it? There we are. Good games from like this week. Like Steph had a good week. Giannis had a good week. Aside from that, nothing amazing. Nothing like you kind of stand out. Halliburton was a good trade in. We'll go through it in a minute. So for Steph, let me just pull this up. Give me a second. All right, back. I just had to find my notes. So Steph started the week off pretty good. Like against Phoenix, I didn't think it was too bad. It was kind of like a scrappy game, that one. It was like Clay's first ejection. Yeah, he scored 25 in that. It's fine. And then Miami was his big game of the week. He had 39. Can't remember how many points, like real points he had, but yeah, I know that game he played good in. I saw a bit of it. Charlotte 36. I expected a bit better because there's no LaMelo, but somehow like Dennis Smith Jr. was like kind of working him on defense. Detroit 29, another disappointing one, but I guess Cade actually isn't too bad a defender. But yeah, 129, you take that from Steph, honestly. Then we've got like a kind of big mess up for the week. Like this is 20 points, 21 points. I fielded Ivy over Jones, which I don't know, if I probably thought about it more, it would have been better to go with Jones. So for Ivy, I guess one of the reasons why Ivy didn't score as good is because he missed a game. First game was against Washington. He only had 13 in that one. I didn't catch that, but from talks and stuff, I don't think he was too good in it. Then they had back-to-back against Atlanta. He missed the first one. I think it was just kind of like rookie conditioning type thing. You know, it's getting to 10 games in the season. Kind of just give him a break because he's a college kid still. Then the Atlanta back-to-back game, the one he did play in, he only had 7. So, guess someone that really relies on being able to get to the rim to then open up other parts of their game, versus tall bigs and stuff, is just not able to do that much yet. He's still just a rookie. Then versus Golden State, he had 16, which was pretty good. If there was a game there that I thought he'd score bad in, it would be the Golden State one, but he was actually all right. But then Jones had a pretty good week. The first Minnesota 3 times. The first one he had 21. The second one he had 15. The first one he actually looked really good in. A bit of it's like the Popovich style. This is kind of like the type of point guard Popovich likes, where it's just like he can score, but he's mainly a facilitator. Because it's a Spurs system, it's probably just the easiest to compare him to like a Tony Parker, but obviously he's not that level yet. Far, like super far from it. 15 versus Minnesota, I think I said. Then they versed the Bulls, and he had 15 versus them. But then today, might have been today. I feel like it was against Minnesota for the third time. He only had 6. I haven't really read into that. What caused the 6? Might have just not been his game. Again, the Popovich system relies on everyone, so it's like you might. Popovich's error was like with the big 3. If there's one night where Ginobili doesn't go off, it will be like Tony Parker and Tim Duncan. Another night Tim Duncan misses, so it's the other 2. So that's what the Spurs system is. It's a very good system. And then we've got kind of like one of the traded in players for this week, like the big trade-ins, in Tyrese Halliburton, who had a very good week, and he's very fun to watch. Even though I don't think... I know Cade had a good week, I don't regret this trade because Halliburton looks better. Like, he passes the eye test a lot more than Cade does. Probably just because the paces are better than the Pistons. So against Philly, he had 27, which I thought was a very good game from him. They beat Philly in that one as well. Did they? I feel like they did. I'm pretty sure they did. First, Chicago, 21. Chicago's not like the easiest for guards to put up fantasy points against, just because Ayo's a good defender, Caruso's a good defender. When DeMar like switches onto a guard, which isn't that often, but like he does, he's still a good, solid defender. Vooch sucks around the rim, but like Drummond's a good around the rim defender, so it can be hard for guards. So 21 you take. Then versus Washington, he had 33, which is, obviously that's good. I think against Washington, he might have had like a near triple double, or like he did have one close to it. I think I can't remember the stats too much. And then today's game versus Brooklyn, he had 34, which he looked very good in, and Brooklyn does not look good at all. They've got problems there. Then Jalen, I mean, it was a down week, but he also only had 3 games. In 2 of them, he played good, but then his first game against Chicago, he only had 16, and I don't think he looked too good in that one. I did catch that one because I think Chicago will still be good this year, and of course, like the Celtics at top of the conference or close to it. Actually, I think the Bucks are the top of the conference, something like that. Then versus Cleveland, he had 27. That game was good. Cleveland kind of showed their contender-ish. Maybe next year they'll be like proper contenders, but this is a good like building year for them. And then versus Washington, he had 23. I didn't catch any of that game. So not a terrible week. Like for a 3-game week, 66. It's not the worst, but I do kind of expect a bit better. Just have a quick look at break-evens. 54, 20, 65 is a little high. Not sure if I'll trade him. I'll have a look at like the 4 gamers and stuff like that a bit later. Not too sure on trades yet. And then Ben Mathurin kind of came back down earth. Last week he looked really good, even if his score wasn't crazy. I think he only scored like 68, 69, something like that. Versus Philly, he had 10. Versus Chicago, 14. And then versus Washington, he had 7. So that was kind of like the rookie wall game. But then versus Brooklyn, he had 29. So maybe just took one bad game, and he's like a competitive type, which I know he is. He's got already quotes about him being competitive. He came back and scored 29 on a on paper good team. Then on to the forwards. Actually, I'll just leave it like this. Just go on to the forwards. Anthony Edwards, he had a very bad first game. Minnesota versus San Antonio honestly made no sense. San Antonio was playing like they were back in their prime. He had only 5 in their first game, but then the second game he had 35. So take that. He was looking pretty like unstoppable in the second game. He was very good in that one. Then they versed LA, the Lakers, who won today, which is why I got this on. But they weren't good versus Minnesota. Edwards ended up having 22 in that game, and then today's game against San Antonio, he only had 20. I did expect a bit better. Honestly, like San Antonio is a team that's tanking for Wembanyama, so I did expect better, but it is what it is. You can't perform every game. And then Markkanen, another one who kind of came back down to earth. 78 is still fine. Like for the $7 million he brought him in for, he's already jumped up to 10. It's pretty good value there. Played back-to-back against Houston. The first one is what really brought the score down. He only had 5. Don't know what happened in that game. Just must have been missing shots. Now that I think about it, I think Edwards had 7 in his first game, and I've just written it down here twice. Then the second Houston game, he had 28, so he kind of just came back to form there. And then Denver, 18, which I expect it to be pretty hard for him. Like, the best player on their team is Jokic. He's a big. Then they got Aaron Gordon, who's not bad. And then kind of Jeff Green and all the other guys on the bench. Memphis, 27. He had not a terrible week from him, to be honest. Like I'll take that. They actually beat Memphis, so I'm not too sure how they did that. We'll go into like the bench and like these rookies like Williams and Duran. Not really going to bother with them. They're not too good. Then the captain for the week was Giannis, who this was kind of just going to happen. Like I didn't really care what he scored. It was just, I was going to captain him. It was a no doubt type thing. Versus Brooklyn, he had 50, which like as soon as I saw that, I was like, all right, we're cool. Versus New York, then he had 40, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, this guy's going for the MVP again. Like, it's tough to say who's like the best player in the league right now, but like Giannis would have to be up there. It'd be like him, Jokic on like a night where like everyone's firing on Denver. And then in his final game, he only had 3 this week and put up 126. That's how good he is. He had 36 versus Atlanta. And then, like, I'd say he's easily the rookie of the year at this point, Banchero. He's so, like, NBA ready. Like, that's... The term NBA ready was made for him. 21 versus New York in his first game. 33 against Cleveland in his second game, which, like, that's crazy. He's already putting up good stats and all that. 28 versus Charlotte in the third game. And then I think every rookie had, like, a wall game this week. He had 6 versus Dallas, but... Dallas was just, they were nuts, you know. You had Luka going off and everything. You know. No one was doing anything versus them. And then to round it off, we got Rudy, who stats say he didn't have a bad week. I say he had a bad week. I say this was a pretty bad week from him. Expected a lot better. San Antonio the first game, 22. San Antonio the second game, 18. I was like... All right, I'll take an over 20 score, whatever, you know, I'll take it. But then scoring under 20 against a team without, like, good bigs, like, Podol is not that crazy. And then he backed it up. He had a 42 against the Lakers, who I think, pretty sure AD missed that game. I didn't watch that one because I was kind of burnt out on watching bad Lakers games. Yeah, I think AD missed that game, now that I think about it. And then today he had 17 versus San Antonio, which, like, that's terrible. Honestly, he should be playing better than that. Not really an excuse for it. But yeah, for trades and stuff, like I said, I haven't really thought of much yet. I did, like, have in mind, like, a swap to LaMelo type of deal here, like, for Jalen, but LaMelo's not back yet, and there's nothing on him yet, like, in terms of when he's coming back. There's a lot of teams with 4 this week, though. So, like, say I did something like this just for the sake of a video. And then brought him in. I need to make some cash. Edwards is being kind of down at the moment. See, is like Hero or something like this? Hero's been pretty good at the moment. Calden's not bad. Wiggins fell off from last week, but I still think he's actually pretty good at the moment. Bogdan, that's kind of like a fake score. He plays for Detroit, so he's just going to shoot every player. Karras looks good, but his minutes will end up getting restricted again once Garland comes back. Vassell, I thought would be a bit better going into this year. Let's see, what have we got for guards, though? Tyrese actually isn't bad. How many did Philly play? Philly 3. What's Minnesota's schedule looking like? 3 versus 3. I think I'd prefer Maxey, honestly. That's tough. For the sake of it, I'll just go with Maxey just to put something down. But yeah, something like this, I'd say. And Giannis has 4, which means he's the auto captain. Yep. But yeah, that's about it for this week. Not too much to go into. The trade, like, getting KD in is kind of like a priority, but yeah, I'd say KD in is a will happen. Just not sure on the other ones. But yeah, till next week, tasty out.